All right, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. It's V the Grill Economist coming to you live with my main man, CJ, aka the master of the flux capacitor. And we bring you the news, the views, and all the information important to you. Check us out, roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money and Rogue Money on Facebook, Rogue Money DTube, Rogue Money Steam It, and every single podcasting app known to humanity. Hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, give us a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and also subscribe to us on every single podcasting app out there as well. Also, check out our sponsors, RemainCalm.net. RemainCalm.net. These guys are about to launch their crypto school, which I'm very excited about. And I think next hour or so, Frank will be me and Frank will be going live to be talking about it. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty exciting. With that being said, also, guys, I think I covered everything. One of those mornings, Siege. One of those mornings.
And I'm glad you said that because it kind of reminded me. But yesterday was a huge day at Rogue. So if you have not listened to London Paul or Charles Hugh Smith, I mean, two brilliant minds
Yeah.
that provided some really deep perspectives. Read through a lot of the comments. I think it's important. Everything gets taken into perspective in terms of the change. And I state this numerous times, you really need right now a lot of differences in opinion, people coming forth with different ideas of what's evolving. I'm glad, V, that we're not one of those that's stuck in the paradigm regarding that the administration could do no wrong. Everything's great. I mean, you really have to frame things up. But if you have not done so yet, go back and check those out, V. But you knocked it out of the park yesterday with Charles Hugh Smith. Very excited about that show. Some good stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man. It was definitely some great shows. And folks, this is why it's important for you to subscribe. Not only does it help us and helps us with the fight of all the other crap that we got to do with censorship and this, that, and the other. It helps us because you're showing your support. You're showing your support, and every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. With that being said, CJ, I gotta clear my nose, bro. What you bring up the first article while I blow my nose?
Yeah, along the past year that's really been pushing in terms of the entire, Russia Gate, the Russia meddling in the election. For far too long, V, it's really slowed down the progress, not only here in the United States, but internationally in terms of some of the conflicts that have occurred that need to be resolved. And it's really time that both parties put things aside to understand that it's really time to start working together with Russia in regards to the Middle East, across the globe. And right now there's a huge consensus building
Right.
upon the Conservative Party that 76% of Republicans agree that it is officially time to make friends with Russia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's the worst that could happen when you have two, superpowers? Okay, you got two superpowers that are friendly with each other, that are cordial. It'd be great for the whole world. What would happen if three superpowers were very friendly with each other and cordial, and they worked triumphantly, okay, in order to bring peace and prosperity and wealth to the entire planet? You'd have an era of peace, the likes of which we have not seen in the 20th century or or even the 21st century as of yet. An era of peace of the modern century that the modern man has yet to taste. That'd be nice. I mean, CJ, let's be honest here. This country's been at war every single day of our lives. And I don't know about you folks, but I have war fatigue. I'm tired. I'm tired about who we're bombing next and who we're threatening next. I'm tired of the Pentagon saying they don't know where $2.3 trillion went. I'm tired of bridges to nowhere. I'm tired of failed weapon systems that are designed to milk the taxpayer. I'm tired of the same rhetoric. I'm tired of the schizophrenic, bipolar foreign policy that we've been following for the last several decades. Enough is enough. is enough. And it's about time we let bygones be bygones. The only Russian collusion that ever existed is the Clinton Foundation and those that were involved in the Uranium One deal. That is the only Russian collusion. And speaking of Hillary Clinton, did you see that nutball said that she would love to be a president of another planet?
I did not see that, V.
Oh my God. The woman has officially gone off the deep end, Siege. Officially gone off the deep end. I don't know what else to say about her. But anyway, yeah.
Well, real quick, while you're talking about the Clintons, and I think that this is pretty important movement of what's occurring right now, is that you're seeing a very much a concentrated effort within the DNC, within the Democratic Party, to push the Clintons out of the political arena. Yeah. And there's new information circulating regarding new allegations against Bill Clinton in his work post-president involving 4 females, and this information is going to be coming out, and we're going to continue to see more information being supported by both parties, because V, let's face some facts here, they do not want to see the Clintons involved in politics come the 2020 elections at all.
Exactly, and that's going to be the fight. Okay, that's going to be the fight. The Democrats have to get rid of the Clintons. They got to deep six them. They got to 86 them. They got to do whatever they can, because this crazy psycho, after she did some sort of interview with some beta male, talking about how she would love to be the president of Earth 2, some imaginary planet called Earth 2. And then as she was leaving and wrapping it up, she said, "Oh, I would also investigate if I was president here. I'd investigate the Russian collusion because we were attacked and we were hacked and we need to respond to our adversary." This dumb psycho lunatic. Literally, she's going down in history as the worst sore loser in American history, and I don't know who's putting her up to it. Like, I don't know who told her, "Hey, Hillary, this is a good look for you. We want you to whine and bitch all across the country for the next several months. This is going to do wonders and get you ready for 2020. People are tired of this old dish rag always running her mouth, whining. I'm sick of seeing this corrupt woman. She's a criminally insane person, man. Unreal.
Yeah, and even if you put party politics aside, let's think about some of the people that she's aligned herself with, with the deep state. Anytime that you having George W. Bush referring to her as his sister-in-law or his sister, whatever he called her, I think that tells you a lot in regards to who these people align with. Yeah. And that's the globalists, that's the cabal, that's the corruption that has just really destroyed our country, V.
Absolutely, CJ. Absolutely. Meanwhile, in the land of adults, we have the Syria peace deals that is right now in negotiation. CJ, this is good news. Can you break it down for us plebeians?
Yeah, this is very exciting. So yesterday, unannounced, Assad did meet with Putin in Sochi, discussing the peace process going forward, and this is quote unquote. Already a talk is planned with the Emir of Qatar, and tomorrow with the President of the United States, U.S. Donald Trump, while afterwards with leaders from countries in the region, a statement that the Kremlin has put out. So, we all know that what's transpired, there's no reason of rehashing the entire narrative of, what transpired in Syria. But what is important is talking about the path forward and to see if the deep state, the cabal, which I don't think that they have any type of actions left in Syria. I really think it's time for the U.S. To meet, to talk with Assad, with Putin. Let's talk about that. It is time for U.S. forces to vacate the area and restore the country back to the people of Syria.
Absolutely correct, man. Absolutely correct. And the message that was said there. This is the commander-in-chief. President Assad addressed the Russian military command with the following words. He says, quote, "I relay on behalf of myself and the Syrian people the greetings to all the Russian state institutions, and on top of them, the Russian armed forces, especially that these forces results on these forces contributed martyrs of its own and huge efforts in Syria. And I was very pleased that you are with us. You, as officers, had direct contribution to the battles of the Syrian soil. When I visited President Putin 2 years ago in Moscow, the Russian air campaign in Syria was just in its early days. And now, a little over 2 years, the whole world can see the results on the ground. The results of the Russian Air Force support to the Syrian Arab Army and its allies in their war on terror. And thanks to your sacrifices and the sacrifice of the Syrian Arab Army and its allies, many of the Syrians were able to return to their homes and villages. Thus, in the name of the Syrian people, I greet and relate to you the gratitude and to all Russian officers, fighters, and pilots who contributed to the war. I mean, amazing. Simply amazing. And isn't it funny, CJ, that the exact opposite is happening with us? Because we have basically the wonderful world of Jared Kushner, which is the amateur hour in skinny jeans. While Russia's cleaning up in Syria and making peace in the Middle East, Jared Kushner's brilliant idea of, again, cutting a deal with Saudi Arabia with Mohammed bin Salman, a.k.a. the Crown Prince, a.k.a. It's like, I don't know what it is. You got the Jared Kushner in skinny jeans. You got Prince Salman in curtains. The entire Saudi scheme is unraveling, CJ. You should break that down, brother. I mean, it's unreal.
It's unreal because leading up to the entire purge in the kingdom, Jared Kushner specifically visited with the Saudis, and probably at that point had specifically mapped out. Now, this is kind of speculation from my part, but we all know how much he favors Israel. We all know that his desperation and everyone wants peace in the Middle East, right? Yeah. But him going in and specifically perhaps showing support for the actions in the kingdom of what's transpiring, in hopes that he had the influence to encourage Israel to be the stronghold. Look, let's face some facts. The Saudis, with their recent moves, have completely, as this article states, they not only do they have no bite, but that dog has no bark. Okay,
correct.
There is no one coming to the rescue with the Saudi kingdom. They are flying solo. The hopes that Israel was going to be their strong arm to conduct their actions for them, that's unraveling quickly.
Very.
And it's a shame that Jared Kushner, who really is in no position to do so, other than just his relationship, with Netanyahu, has helped in what's transpired. So it's I know there's still a lot to unfold. There's still some things that can happen, but I don't think it's going to be any differently that we witnessed with Qatar, with Qatar and their efforts with labeling them a terrorist nation. Listen, the Saudis are desperate. Their cash flows, their coffers are drying up, and they're doing everything right now to try to save the kingdom from potentially what could evolve to a very much a civil war, when their people, their millennials, they have no jobs. The nanny state can no longer afford to pay those monthly stipends to their citizens. Just really interesting time to be witnessing this, V.
When you look at this whole entire thing, you have the inexperienced Jared Kushner, who, this is the guy who, bet on real estate right before it imploded. This is a guy who bought a newspaper company right before everyone was leaving print media. This is he's a strikeout artist. Okay, he's a strikeout artist. This inexperienced kid in skinny jeans, goes over to Saudi Arabia back in May with Trump, right? Or not May. Yeah, it was like, when was it? May or something? When was the last time Trump was in? Yeah, it was in May, right? When he was in the whatchamacallit? Golly, CJ. When he was in Saudi Arabia, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So, right. So, so that's when this plan was hatched. Kushner, he thought he had, again, stroking his own ego. Oh, I have Benjamin Netanyahu. He's my buddy. Don't worry. if you go in along with you go in on with Syria and Qatar and Yemen, don't worry about it. You know, Netanyahu and Israel will back you because I know Netanyahu. I know Israel. I can get them on your side. I'm Jared Kushner. I'm the great influencer. I'll cut that deal for you. Wah, wah, wah. And what happened? The whole damn thing blew up on his face. Okay, Netanyahu has enough corruption charges. He's going to probably lose his prime minister job very quickly. You have all these things that are happening right now. And this is what beleaguers me. There are so many well-qualified people that are educated, that are experts in foreign policy, that are masters in handling this kind of stuff, rather than handing over to them, somebody like maybe like a Rex Tillerson. What the Trump administration gambled on is this idiot punk kid in skinny jeans. And what has he delivered yet again, CJ? Nothing. Mohammed bin Salman, the right thing for him to do was to get the hell out of Yemen, was to reevaluate his relationship with Syria and start striking peace accords with Iran. Right now, MBS, early into his reign, okay, he is the one calling the shots at this point, looks absolutely belligerent. I cannot make heads or tails of what the hell's going on in the Middle East right now. I still think the Saudis can turn around and they'll see some sense of what the heck's happening and come around, or they would literally it would be the end of them. It will be the end of them. So let's see what happens. It's definitely one to watch, and we shall see what happens. Anyway, speaking of the whole Israeli-Saudi thing, this is the reason why, CJ, we need to revisit Operation Orchard. It's an operation that took place in 2007 when the Mossad purposely misled the CIA on a supposed Syrian nuclear strike. When Yusri Abu-Shady studied the highly unusual May 2008 CIA video on a Syrian nuclear reactor that was allegedly under construction when Israeli jets destroyed it 7 months earlier, the senior specialist on North Korean nuclear reactors on the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency staff, knew that something was very wrong. Abu-Shady quickly determined that the CIA had been seriously misled by Israeli intelligence and immediately informed the two highest officials in the Vienna-backed IAEA, Director General Mohammed El-Baradi and the Deputy Director of Safeguards, Oli Heinonen, that the CIA's conclusions were not consistent with the most basic technical requirements for such a reactor. But it did not take long for Abu-Shady to realize that the top IAEA officials were not interested in drawing on his expertise in regard to the alleged Syrian reactor. In fact, the IAEA cited non-existent evidence linking the site to a Syrian nuclear program while covering up real evidence that would have clearly refuted such a claim, according to Abu-Shady and other former IAEA officials. So basically, CJ, what we have here is, again, a false flag propaganda attack saying that Syria was on the verge of creating a nuclear bomb. And again, I use the word intelligence services euphemistically. These idiots went ahead and the Israelis bombed them and said, "Oh, look, it's a nuclear facility." And then the CIA said, "Oh, yeah, there's a nuclear facility there. This is in the height of the war on terror, right? When everybody was still buying that BS." And it turned out to be nothing. And the reason why we need to revisit Operation Orchard, and it was an operation to purposely mislead the American public into thinking that we have a foreign dictator, quote unquote, or a foreign adversary that has the means to weapons of mass destruction. The reason why we have to look at Operation Orchard is because it is a clear textbook evidence, just like Operation Ajax, just like Operation Northwoods that never went operational, but maybe later on. It is a textbook example and description of what a false flag looks like. And we need to remember it because between now until these deep state idiots are permanently done away with, the specter of a false flag looms large over the Middle East, especially Syria, especially now that the Syrian government is and the Russians are right now negotiating for peace. ISIS is pretty much done. Syrian people are returning back to Syria. Now would be the time for the deep staters to pull off some sort of false flag. So it's unreal. Anyway, CJ,
yeah, very important to monitor.
We have a real,
very important to monitor.
Oh, absolutely, dude. We have a real and present danger in America, man. What the heck's going on here, bro? What is this belligerent attack on RT, man? What is that all about?
Yeah, so basically what's happened is the U.S. Department of Justice has decided, the criminal division has forced the Russian-funded television RT, Russian TV, Russian Today, to register as a foreign agent under the Foreign Agent Registrations Act to comply or run risk of RT's management and secure its assets, to close it up. I know that you've watched RT. I've watched RT several times. They bring a lot of different perspectives.
I love them.
I do not see it. As a matter of fact, I think they were one of the first to start exposing some of the events unfolding, in Syria, some of the truths that comes out. And unfortunately, as it relates to the Department of Justice, the DOJ, under the current realm of Jeff Sessions, and recent news in regards to him not necessarily pursuing criminal investigations of Uranium One, I really think it's time for Jeff Sessions to step aside, and let someone else comes in. It's really time for Sessions to go.
Yeah, you know what? It's time for Reefer Madness to definitely step down, because if he's not investigating Uranium One, that just tells me he has something to do with Uranium One. I mean, wasn't he linked to Fusion GPS in some regard, or some law firm that's connected to Fusion GPS? Wasn't that the case, CJ?
Primarily, yes, and it may have involved like some type of fundraising or something at standpoint. I'll need to research that further.
Mm-hmm. So let me get this straight. So RT has to register as a foreign agent, but CNN is not a foreign agent.
Right. Yeah. So CNN that can provide questions, to a debate, that can only that can report and fabricate information, as well as the New York Times. All of these other hardline propagandists, that do it for political influence, remain pure, remain the main source of information. And if they can do this as to RT, then who's next? Who's next in terms of trying to shut down counter perspective, counter views, because it doesn't align, with the deep state, with the cabal. So this is very eye-opening, in terms of America and the direction that we're heading in terms of a free media that potentially doesn't exist.
Dude, totally, dude. Let's apply the rules of what's the word I'm looking for? Of the global war on terror. Let's apply those rules to media. If we apply these, in the global war of terror, there's no soldiers anymore. These are called non-state actors. Well, what's to think that organizations or corporations like CNN, which is clearly a non-state actor, but is in fact a terrorist organization that produces propaganda, that creates fake news, that foments so much hate that lunatics are willing to take action. And we've seen that when the leftists were shooting up baseball games with the congressmen and senators in it. We've seen when loony left, pink pussy hat wearing idiots were at Las Vegas hotels, machine gunning crowds. We see all these things here, CJ. This is laid at the hands of CNN, and I there's no doubt in my mind CNN has received donations and whatnot from Soros's Open Society terrorist group. So this is what kills me. I mean, you have the BBC, we have Al Jazeera, we have so many other quote unquote networks that are foreign owned, and they obviously you're going to have a little bit of a slant to whoever the hell's paying the bills. But RT has to register as a foreign agent, like they're some sort of a subversive, some sort of subversive agency operating as a fifth column in the country, in this country. And I think it's ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous. And you know what? Sessions is. I mean, what is he doing? Thank you, Jeff, for helping catch pedophiles. But come on, man. Come on, get with the program here.
Right? Anyway, yeah. Think of who's next. I mean, the amount of counter arguments of the traditional media. You start to think of like Zero Hedge. Anti-war, Ron Paul Institute. Some of these that potentially could be having favorable information, much like we do, right? With Russia and Syria, could be considered propaganda, which isn't true at all. So yeah, so this is a very dangerous a time in terms of that happening. And yes, Jeff Sessions just needs to go away. Trump needs to go ahead and ask for his resignation so that we can move forward, because I don't see anything occurring with him. He, for some reason, he's corrupted. Something is there that's keeping this guy from moving forward, of arresting, of prosecution, that's waiting for these deep state Kabbalists.
Yep, absolutely. Monumental day for Bitcoin as the CME opens a Bitcoin's future. Siege, what's that all about?
Yeah, you start to think, and a lot of people in terms of Bitcoin, and it's a fad. It's going away. The entire cryptocurrencies. Now, before I jump into this article, I want to state that that as far as institutional money moving closer to cryptocurrency, it's happening. If there's any other factor to show that Bitcoin is here to stay, that the growth, yesterday I think it broke 8,200 per Bitcoin. I think it was an all-time high. It's going to continue going upwards. There's some estimates that by the end of the year, potentially 10,000 per Bitcoin. And now we're watching very much traditional American institutions like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange move forward into Bitcoin futures, which I'm not advocating for. I'm just stating that whenever this crossover happens and people start to say, oh, the feds are going to take it over, they're going to shut it down and everything, at this point, Bitcoin has made that shift and has gone completely mainstream, V.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely correct, man. Completely mainstream. And, you can't avoid it. You avoid it at this point at your peril. You can't wish it away. What will be the ultimate crypto at the end of the day? I don't know. No one knows. But the point is, cryptos are here. We don't need central banks. We don't need banks. We don't need, certain ways of doing things. And these guys trying to financialize Bitcoin with ETFs and whatnot, it's traders will get involved on it because, again, there's blood in the water. There's money to be made. People will be there. But this is not going to affect those who use Bitcoin. Again, the crypto genie is out of the bottle. There's no stopping it.
Yeah, what's going to happen when it's completely open and transparent? Whenever we don't need financial advisors to make our investments, right? We don't need those people because we can go out and exchange and buy on our own. Gosh, that's such a terrible thing to happen, right? Mm-hmm. No, we want that. We want that free society to be able to decide whether you want to get involved with the metals, with the crypto space. And the really unique and the really cool thing, V, is that we don't have to have some of those traditional institutions to help us to get that accomplished.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that being said, CJ, that wraps it up. And God, I'm just so tired. Anyway. Anyway, we are done for the day, my man. I think we got Dex at 2:00. With that, we are over and out. Take it away, CJ.